Hi, this is Trey Passo. Welcome to my review, spoiler free, my review of Superman. I saw it again today. I saw it yesterday, and I saw it again today. So I've seen it twice. And I wanted to do my review yesterday, but for some reason, my voice would, every time I kept trying to talk, my voice was strained. I even drank water and stuff to try to clear it out, but I just, 1, 2, 3, 4, I see it right there on my Logitech webcam software. I tried to do it 4 times, just my voice just kept straining and it felt raw. So I said, let me wait a day, and I even popped two Dayquils, and my voice feels better and sounds better, and I don't feel strained and all that stuff. So I apologize going forward. Anyway, this is one of my most anticipated movies of the year. Okay, I'm a big James Gunn fan and excited for this DC Studios, and you see me do videos on the casting, the photos, behind the scene photos, everything. So I was so looking forward to seeing this movie. And this movie definitely lived up to the hype, in my opinion. Okay, it was just, again, like I said, I had total faith in James Gunn as a filmmaker, and I think he did a really good job in this. And in this story, like he says in the preview, so this is not really a spoiler. He says you jump right into the action, and this is a lived-in universe where there's always metahumans here, there's villains and everything else in this universe. And Superman, and you're basically jumping into a Superman story like 3 years in. Okay, and this story, and like he said, I think James Gunn said it a long time ago because people were saying there's too many characters in this. And in my opinion, that didn't matter. It added to the story. Okay, and the main villain, like in most Superman stories, is Lex Luthor. Okay, played by Nicholas Hoult. Okay, and David Cornswell obviously is Superman, and Rachel Brosnahan is Lois Lane. And let me just say, I loved the performances by the characters. First of all, let's talk about David Cornswell. David Cornswell was great in this movie as Superman / Clark Kent. I think he really lived up to the high, and his character again was a hopeful Superman, just like James Gunn announced before the movie started. He said he wanted to do a Superman that was more hopeful and stuff, and a Superman that smiled, actually. Not to take anything away from Henry Cavill, because I loved Henry Cavill as Superman. He did the best that he could with the scripts that he had, but this Superman to me feels more hopeful and more. You've got a younger Superman and a more hopeful Superman, and a Superman that really just wants to do good. Okay, and I really love David's portrayal of the character, and you really felt the earnest of Superman in this. You really feel his desire to do good in this movie, and I really think David Cornswell he killed it as Superman, and I love his chemistry with Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane. I thought they had a perfect yin and yang relationship, and it really, you actually got to see the progress of their relationship actually in this movie. And without spoiling it, I'll do that. I'll say more about that when I do my spoilers review of it. But you really felt that connection. They had great chemistry together, and I really felt that they complemented each other really well. And again, Rachel Brosnahan, again, who I think the only thing I ever saw her in was The Marvelous Miss Maisel, which I didn't really watch that show. I think I've seen 1 or 2 episodes here or there. But she really was outstanding as Lois Lane. You see everything that you want Lois Lane to be: fierce, non-stop go-getter, and Rachel Brosnahan more than were capable of doing that. Again, great chemistry, romantic chemistry with Clark Kent and / Superman David Cornswell. Great chemistry between the two of them, and I really liked them together. And now Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. Nicholas Hoult, we all know that he tried out for the Batman, and he lost that, obviously. And then he also tried out for Superman, and we know he lost lost that part too. So you got James Gunn decided to cast him as Lex Luthor, and I think he really knocked it out of the park. He did it a lot better than I thought he was going into this movie. I know Nicholas Hoult is a good actor, and I've seen him in a lot of different things. I mean, he is a really talented actor, but I think he killed it in this part as the villain. He was Lex Luthor. He really, and you'll see, especially that in the third act of this movie, you're gonna say, "Wow, he just really." he just really has a thing for Superman. It's really, and there's a funny line in there that you're gonna love that David Cornswell says to him, and you really see it in this movie. He really has a mad on for Superman, like you see it in most iterations. Lex Luthor really has a thing that he wants to really get Superman, and Nicholas Hoult really gives you that portrayal. He really gives it a strong character, and there's a lot of other different things in this movie. Again, like I said, they jump you right into the action. So this movie is moving. When you jump into, it's basically like a comic book, really. and it's bright and colory. That's another thing I like about this movie. It's not drab and stuff. It's nice and bright and shiny and stuff, and things happen in this movie. And things, the story keeps moving. Okay, that's another thing I like. It keeps moving and moving. The movie's almost like 2 hours long, but to me, it's not boring. It keeps you engaged. You're wondering what's going to happen, and I really like that about this movie. James Gunn made it really like you get thrust into this world, and you basically got to hold on for the ride because things are happening, things are moving in this universe. Now, as for the other characters in this, we have the Justice Gang, as they call it, as Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner calls them, the Justice Gang, which is really hilarious. Okay, you have him. Nathan Fillion was great as Guy Gardner, just obnoxious, and he just played that part to the T. And of course, the only I say Hawk Girl, that character, Isabel Marcet, she didn't have that as much to do in this movie. She has a few moments in there, but she doesn't have as much to do as the other two. But my one of my favorites, of course, is Eddie Gathagi. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Hopefully I didn't butcher it. As Mr. Terrific. He was really good in this movie, and he had kind of the most screen time out of the other two members of the Justice Gang, and he was great. Again, with his T-Spears, he has a great sequence in this movie, and he is really good, and I'm glad that he gets another shot at the superhero genre, especially after what happened to him in that X-Men First Class movie. Okay, but in this movie, he's absolutely hilarious and smart and very capable. Okay, and he has the most screen time, and he really and I would love to see a Terrific's movie, or maybe they'll do a TV show or whatever in the future with the Terrifics, because Mr. Terrific in this movie is a badass. He really is a badass, and he's smart, and and he's hilarious as well too in this movie. He has some really funny lines in this movie as well, which makes it really hilarious. And I forgot the guy that plays, I forgot his name, the actor who plays Metamorpho. He's not in the movie as much, but he does have some poignant scenes in this movie and stuff. And he really, I can't wait to see more of that character, because they do show, they show his power set and everything. And you don't really get as much backstory on his character, but you get to see him use his powers and see a little bit of his comic book background. And it's really good, and I can't wait to see him in another movie, if he's going to be in another, if they do a Justice League movie, or if they do I think he's part of the Terrifics too. I think he is in the comics. I think Metamorpho is part of them, as well as I think the Justice League. But anyway, as far as villains is concerned, Ultraman and the Engineer, you don't get that much backstory with those two characters. You really don't. I mean, they have some badass moments in this movie, but you don't get that much backstory. But essentially, they're henchmen to Lex Luthor in this movie. Okay, you don't get. So I don't know if I guess that would be a spoiler. But you don't get that much backstory with them in this movie. But their power sets are just incredible and visually just outstanding. And like I said, there's some outstanding action sequences in this movie. The fights with the kaiju, and Superman fighting the villains, and just really in some intense action sequences. And James Gunn does a great job with this. As far as the Crypto is concerned, Crypto is his character is just hilarious to me. I found that character absolutely hilarious. Crypto, he really is a bad dog. He really does cut up in this movie and stuff. And you'll see when you watch the movie exactly. There's a reason, I guess, for it, which it gets explained in the movie. But the character is to me is still a badass. I love Crypto, and I'm glad James Gunn decided to include him in this movie. Okay, I think that was very good to do that. And overall, I like this first attempt, for James Gunn of this DC universe. And I'm hoping I think this movie will do over $100 million this weekend. I think it's going to do good this weekend. I was predicting maybe like a 125, something like that. I think this movie will do good this weekend. I just got to see. I guess Sunday we'll find out exactly how good it does. But I think this movie will do good, and I think it'll get a lot of repeat business. Like I said, I've seen it twice. Okay, and I definitely think I want to see it again. And Because I have full faith in James Gunn with the stuff he's writing. And I know he's writing another movie, and I hope that's a world's finest movie. That's a fingers crossed thing on that. I hope it is a world's finest movie with Superman. You can introduce our DC Batman, because I don't want Robert Pattinson, nothing against him, into this universe. I want a different Batman for that one, for this universe. And hopefully that's a world's finest movie that James Gunn is writing again, because I want to definitely see David Cornsweet again, and I would love to see him team up with Batman in a movie and stuff. And again, Lex Luthor, Nicholas Hoult, I think was absolutely fantastic. Again, his character is smart, and he really literally shows it in this movie. He's smart, and he has plans, and he executes them. He's always thinking, and he shows you the true genius of Lex Luthor in this movie. You really get to see that displayed, because Lex Luthor is focused, and he's laser focused on Superman. He's really laser focused on Superman. Okay, and again, he uses all his resources and everything else to accomplish his goal. And again, that's all you could ever want, is a villain that truly believes in what he does and what he wants. And you definitely get that out of Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor in this movie. And again, overall, like I said, they jump you in this movie, and I guess my only criticism of this movie is certain characters don't get as much screen time, I guess, as you would want. Like, we get a little bit of the Daily Planet people. We get a little bit of their backstory. I think Jimmy Olsen has, outside of Lois, Jimmy Olsen has probably the most, I guess, screen time. But everybody else is kind of doesn't get as much screen time as they possibly can, because I think James Gunn just either throws you into this world, and some characters don't get enough screen time, in my opinion. Okay, and that would be my only kind of, I guess if the movie was longer, maybe you could do that. And I know originally, I think the movie was supposed to have like titles for like the certain days and stuff, chapters as it goes along. And I know some people were complaining about it, saying that the movie's a mishmash of things, and it's not structured the right way. But I think James Gunn, like he said, he wanted to thrust you into the world already living and breathing, and you just basically hang on for the ride and go along. Okay, but I liked it. Okay, so I'm gonna give Superman out of my 4-star system, 1 star being poor, 2 stars being fair, 3 stars being good, and 4 stars being excellent. I would give this movie 3.5 stars. And again, like I said, my only critique, I guess, of this is that I think some characters, like I think, I don't want to spoil it in this, but some characters don't get enough screen time in this movie. I think if the movie was a little bit longer, maybe you could have got more screen time. And again, like I said, we get no origin story, of course. Everybody knows that, and you don't really need it, because everybody knows who Superman is. But again, my only complaint is that some characters are not fully fleshed out like you kind of want them to be. And I think if they had longer run time, you'd probably get more fleshed out, characters more fleshed out. But to me, this movie is like a living comic book, and it's visually beautiful to see. And I saw it in IMAX, and that's the way to see it, on the big gigantic screen. And definitely go see it. Again, 3.5 stars for me. Okay, so anyway, let me know what you think. If you've seen Superman, what do you think of it? Feel free to leave comments down below. I will be doing a spoilers review of Superman. Okay, and I think my voice is starting to go again because I'm talking a lot. But I will be doing a spoilers review of it as well. And also, there'll be a guest star doing a review of Superman as well. Okay, so look for those 2 videos besides this one. Okay, so in the description box, I have links to my Facebook, my Twitter, my Instagram. Also have a link to my other channel, Paul Views and Opinions. Please check that out as well. Also have a link down below to my Patreon. My Patreon, follows over 200 videos on there, 5 different categories. You get 5-minute preview clips of all the content that's on there. Follow the link. Also have a link down below to my merchandise store, where I sell hats, t-shirts, mugs, sweatshirts, hoodies, water bottles, teddy bears for men, women, unisex. Follow the link. It'll take you to the store. Also have a link down below to I think that's it, right? So please give this video a thumbs up. It helps the channel, and I truly appreciate it. Also hit the subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when I upload new content to this channel. And this is Trey Pass. This thing so long. Take care.